according to Fredo, he stated in one of his books, The House of the Dead, that the degree of civilization in a society is measured by the prison system. So when you enter the prison system, that is when you know how civilized a country is. So today we'll be talking about the prison system. It's a global thing, it's a global problem, but today we are focused on Nigeria. So we are going to go through this. These are my 3-point research. We have Fredo, we have Donald, and we have the Nigerian Correctional Center. My name is Princess Na, and as a corporate lawyer and a criminal litigation lawyer, I'm more focused on criminal litigation. And the reason why I'll be speaking on the topic, does incarceration reduce crime in Nigeria or better our criminals, or rather criminals? And the reason why I'm speaking on that topic is because of the report that I got on our forum, New Lie. It's a universal network where they give pro bono services to incarcerated individuals who do not have access to lawyers, probably because of the fees and all of that. So, according to their report, they represented an inmate who was incarcerated for over 10 years, that's a decade, and upon release, he was found not guilty by the courts. But then, when he got home, he killed his mom. So who is to be blamed? Is it the society, the government, who is trying to protect the citizens from harm, or Solomon? Let me use the name Solomon. It's not nice to give out names because of confidentiality, so we're going to use the name Solomon. So according to Fredo, which is the number 1 point, he states the effects of imprisonment. And also, I'm going to support his own point with the NCC. According to the Nigeria, So before we go into what has been stated and the research that is made, we're going to look at confinement. So what is incarceration? Incarceration is a legal confinement of an individual in a facility system, maybe after being convicted or awaiting trial. So according to the Nigerian Correctional Service, it is stated that 82,195 inmates are in prison. Then out of that, 53,670 are awaiting trial. That is our subject point. Then 28,525 have been convicted. So because of this, we now have overcrowding in the prison system. And looking at it, you see that the overcrowding is caused by the awaiting trial inmates. And then according to Fredo, it states that overcrowding is the reason why we have poor prison system. Not because the government has not introduced reformation of prison system, but because there are no adequate resources. We have the reformation in place, but we have shortage of staffs, we have lack of equipment, and then sometimes we use psychologists and their doctors, and most of our doctors are no longer in the country. So due to this situation, because people are leaving, we are short. And so reformation and rehabilitation is totally, I'll give it 1.1. And then the next one, we have Donald. Now, Donald's view. Now, who is Donald? He's a philosopher. Sorry for not introducing their name. Fredo is a philosopher and a novelist in Russia. He was in the Siberian prison for 4 years, so he has a better understanding of what psychology and prison system is. Then Donald is a philosopher that focused so much on the prison system because our government have promised us that they're going to secure us, they're going to protect us from offenders. And by that, they have to introduce incarceration so that when they offend, they take you to prison. But then let's not forget that after serving terms, they're going to come out. And therefore, those awaiting trials, by the time they are found not guilty, they're going to come out. So what happens if the system is not reformed? When they come out, the same society you're protecting, are they safe? Or you are introducing and exposing them to the same harm you're protecting them from? So this was the evidence of Donald, where he suggested that even though rehabilitation is important, due to its inefficiency, it's going to cause more harm to the society than what the government is trying to protect. I like this man because as a Savanian prisoner, he said something that strikes us. He said, if you put someone in prison for committing a crime and you do not have a system in place to rehabilitate and reform the person, what happens when he comes out? Does he become a better person, or he comes out to commit the same crime? So there's another re-offending instead of someone becoming new. And for that, government should try their possible best. He also relates it to the Nigerian Correctional Center statistics. If you've punished someone, why not separate them from the ones that are yet to undergo trial? Because these people come into prison and they're going to find a better way to survive. And in surviving, they're going to accuse themselves to someone. So if you have someone who is a criminal, he's a gang of a criminal, like a gang leader, because when you go to the prison system, you see them walking around, they say, that's the gang leader. He's going to come to you, or maybe you're going to come to him for help. So because the prison system is also a community, it has cultures, it has languages, it has hierarchy. You're going to acknowledge the hierarchy, you're going to adapt to the cultures. And by the time all of this thing happens, you now come out and the real society reality is out of it. And that was what happened to Solomon. So in Solomon's case, bringing Solomon to the next topic, in Solomon's case, Solomon was 20 when he was taken into bars. Why? Because he was a form of replacement, not because he was a criminal. So someone has escaped and they were trying to replace someone. So they picked him up, they locked him at the age of 20. He was not charged. Parents were not allowed to see. In fact, his parents were not even aware. And at the end of the day, he spent 10 years, that's a decade, in prison. And because of that, he was trying to survive and gave up himself to a gang leader who raped him. Why? Because he loved him so much and he reminded him of someone he was in love with before he came into prison. And to him, he said he was blessed that God brought Solomon as per a represent of what he has been missing. So after he raped Solomon, and to say, he gave Solomon his stretched out arms, like, let me help you, let me save you so that these people will not bully you. And at the end of the day, after saving him, he raped him. So when Solomon got out, a mother who is kind, trying to, work out time, I've lost track of time with my son, let me give him the best. She was trying so hard to be nice to Solomon. And that was the trauma Solomon was going through. After he was released, the government did not provide system for rehabilitation. Because it is in this course, you go through psychology, you go through training and all of that, and they get to know that you're fit for reintegration. But they did not. They just said, go Solomon, you are free. And Solomon went into the ward, saw the mom. The mom was being so nice. And the mom reminded him of someone that raped him, because he was always coming to help him. And at the end of the day, he still raped him. So in the bid of Solomon trying to escape this same reality, he strangled the mom. Now the death was unintentional, but Solomon was trying to defend himself from recurrences. So after he strangled the mom, they said that in this case, because he's not psychologically fit, he can't be tried. So at the end of the day, you realize that our prison system is so down, not because they're not doing the right thing, but because they're not taking necessary measures and reforms and approach to make sure that if we have to give someone a second chance, they need to come back to the society. So what should we do? Tell the government to be more proud on reformation so that we, the society, will be safe. Thank you for listening. I remain Princess.